Hi everybody, my name is Jan Dufour and I'm an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator. Today we're going to make a Hello There card using the Around the Bend, and in the stamp set all I used was a Hello There. And then the die set, which has very different kinds of lines that can be created to be wavy. I picked two of them that actually have the same wave, if you will. They go together. Or you can use them separately, obviously. When I put this together, I kind of eyeballed it, but I'm going to go ahead and give you the dimensions on where to cut. I'll put this aside. So you need some very vanilla thick for the base. It's an A2 card, which you cut at 5.5, and then by the 11 side, and then score at 4 1/4. And then I'm using Evening Evergreen at 5.5 and 2 1/4. All these measurements will be on my blog. If you're watching me on YouTube, there'll be a link to my blog so you can go on over there and get the information. Soft Succulent is 5.5 by 3.5. And Lovely Linen is the DSP, and that's 5.5 by 4 1/4. I'm going to put these two aside so I can show you what I did with the cutting. Again, like I said, I kind of eyeballed it when I was doing it, which is, you know, fine. But in order for you to replicate it, I went ahead and I measured where this was going. And essentially, doesn't matter how you put it on there, the measurement along one side was at 2 3/4. So if you wanted to measure it, you could actually take a little and put a tick mark there. I'm using a pen, but it's an erasable pen, so we can get rid of the marks. But so 2 3/4 on this side, and on the other side, it was 2 1/4. And that will give you 2 and these are estimates because it really doesn't matter that much about how much space there is there. But so I'm putting this here, and I'm putting this side here, and then you want to be careful to make sure, see how this one ends up here? That's okay, it can be that way because it'll just look like it's part of the curve, because it doesn't know, or nobody will know that it's that way. I'm going to turn it to go through at a slight angle this way and go ahead and run that through. Usually I have these prepared, but I wanted to show you this particular die does have lots of dots. Now some of them will come right out. This is actually you could use this piece for another thing, but as you can see, there's lots of dots. They're well cut out. I'm going to go ahead and take the tape off and put this butt aside because I'll be using it again. If you take your pick tool and run over it, I'm going to make a mess here. Just run over it, and they drop out very well. They're very well cut. It's just that they're small and irregular shapes, so they tend to stick a little bit harder. And as you can see, it doesn't take very long. And then when you take this off, a few more will pop off. And then you can kind of check to see there's a few hanging chads, if any of you are old enough to remember that. And a few on the end. And voila, we're done. So I can put that aside. Some of them are embossed on there, and I keep thinking they're to pop out, and they're not. So I'm going to put that aside. I'm going to try to clean up this mess just a little bit. Don't want one of those caught underneath my paper while I'm trying to adhere it. That will make a bump I do not want. And so then the next one is the top layer, and I kind of do want it to follow, and that's what this particular one does. And so here's the way I figured out how to place it. I put this down the right way, right? And then I figured out, you know, if I put it like this, it wouldn't follow the curve. So I wanted to follow the curve. I actually turned it this way. And I wanted it to be a little bit above. I actually did measure it. It's 2 3/4 on one side. We can go ahead and make that mark. Oops. Hang on. No, not 2 3. I'm sorry, 1 1/2 on this side. And 1 on the other side. Again, you can eyeball this. That's what I did originally. But this is how I did it though, to determine where I wanted it to go. So I've got it going in the right curve. I have this one about here and this one about here. And as you can see, there's a fairly even, fairly even width across. Now, what I did was tape the metal down, not the cardstock, just the metal. And then I removed this. I just scooted this out from underneath because I know that the angle I have on that is the way I wanted it. Again, I could remeasure this, but I'm not going to because it doesn't matter as long as it's at this. See, I told you I'd have some of those things all over the place. It doesn't really matter as long as this is a straight space. This will follow that line. If you want to, you can go ahead and measure it. I'm going to go ahead and just run it through. My big shot is off to the side. My area for filming is smaller than what's available. I can pick this up and put that aside. Can use this as well. Let me get this out of the way. All right, so now we've got our major pieces. You lay this down and put this up in the corner. You can see that it follows. If you decide that that's too close, that you would like it a little bit more, say, offset this way, then go ahead and just cut off an even amount all the way across. I'm fine with how it comes out. It's highlighting the colors, and I'm happy with that. So this part here, obviously, is a quick glue. We'll take our multi-purpose glue and start. Okay. I'm not quite at the end of it. There should be glue that comes out. There we go. Put a little extra there as it popped through. This is okay. I'll try to mix it up a little bit. There is more glue than is necessary here. There must have been a little bit of a plug in there, so I'm just gonna do a little bit of a wipe and spread. Have you ever done that with old cardstock that's in your garbage? Then this is a somewhat directional, so I want to make sure I lay it down in the correct direction. I kind of line it up and then do one of these. Make sure they're all on the same level. Here's the first one. When I glued this one, I only put glue up here the first time. And now that I got the glue coming out well, you could also do this with a small implement. I'm just going to put not even a dot. I'm not even squishing the glue out. I'm just kind of rolling what's on the side of this glue is very strong, so that even just rubbing a little tiny bit, you can see, is enough that will keep the edges down. Of course, you don't want it too close to this because that will just come through the holes, and that would be awkward. And we'll put our final one on. I've seen all kinds of cards layered out there, you know, multi-layer, and that's awesome. They're beautiful cards. I would just caution you, if you're putting these types of cards in the mail, that you be aware of how many layers you're putting on there. A first class stamp has to be an ounce or less. And then, because I hate to stamp words without making sure that they're straight, I use my Stamparatus when I make these. And I did make several pieces of paper so that I could stamp them out ahead of time. You can, of course, just stamp right away. This is a lighter color. It's soft succulent. It matches the center layer. And there's always that possibility it's not quite dark enough. I could also try re-inking, which I should do. This is one of my favorite colors, and unfortunately it's going away. There we go. That's dark enough. Because it's an in color from 2 years ago, and they only last 2 years, so this one's going to be leaving us at the end of April. So I'll put this aside. And this is the double oval punch. In this particular case, I just want the larger oval so it will fit. I will try to make it so that I can see it as well as you. That looks pretty straight. Put aside. And I did want this up on dimensionals, so I will grab some of those. I am at the end of my dimensionals, but I'm not really. Let me get my snips. You should never get rid of these. I leave them in there most of the time because I like to use them when there's like a long piece that I want to. These work just as well when they're all cut up like that. So let's put these on. I'm going to do it like this. And that way, these are not expensive. I don't really know why I do this. It's probably my father speaking through me to be thrifty. He was a thrifty kind of guy. His generation went through the Great Depression, so he was always saving. He was a pack rat. I try to be a happy medium, part pack rat and part not. Oops, I guess I have a little present. Those things end up everywhere. All right. And then I decided I needed to use some bling. This is also from the annual catalog. It's classic matte. Now on this one, I put a cream colored one. It's cute. I'm going to try a light gray one. There is no gray here, but let's see. Let me use the one with the sharper. Oops. It's running away. I usually use the other side, which is a flat pan, but I think I'm going to put this on here. It is a gray green. Oh yes, I like that better. So it is gray, but it kind of blends in with the green, so you wouldn't even know. And that's my card for today. You're going to see this in March, so we will be getting a new catalog at the end of April. If you don't have a demonstrator and you want to have a free catalog sent to me, then just shoot me an email. My email address is jandufour@yahoo.com. Tell me that you would like to have a free catalog, and I will mail one out to you as soon as the new one comes out. If you want to visit my website, this link will be below if you're on YouTube, is stampmesilly.com. If you'd like to shop for any of the products that I showed you today, you can go to jandufour.stampinup.net and order directly from there. I appreciate you stopping in. Please leave me a comment. It helps me to know what you're more interested in seeing. And if there's anything that I didn't make clear to you, I'd be happy to answer you. Thanks a lot. Bye.